Welcome to Sharing the Middle, where recovering perfectionists, overachievers, and anyone in the middle of a struggle come together and learn to embrace the messy middles of life. I'm Lacey, your friend in the middle and guide, and my claim to fame this week is just being here with you. I know it's been a while. I know I have not been super consistent when it comes to the podcast lately, and I thank you for sticking with me and tagging along and showing up again here today because I appreciate it so much. There's so much going on in my world. I figured what better way than just to have a Thanksgiving episode. Thanksgiving, not necessarily the holiday and all of the stuff that goes with that, but an episode where I talk through my thanks and really talk through the middle and where it is, where I am, and where it's going. But most of all, it's just being thankful for this space and that this even exists. So yeah. So today we're gonna talk through Lacey stuff. It's so funny when I do these episodes because I'm like, does anybody listen? Yes, people listen to it. Do they like them? I have no idea. But they happen. And they've really come to be like me coming to the audience of, I'm sorry, let me tell you what's going on. And the first thing, we lost our boy Indy last week. Indy, who has been a kind of staple of Sharing the Middle, from barking in the background to breathing in the mic, being close to me. He had a tumor that we had taken out, and I still don't totally understand what happened. It wasn't necessarily a complication of the surgery, but it was because of the surgery, something else moved into his body. I don't understand it, but we had to make the really hard decision to say goodbye to our Indy boy, which, friends, he was on every episode with me. I cannot stress enough how important Indy has been in my life. If you've been along with me on this journey for the past year, I have been mostly home. I'm mostly home by myself. And me being home by myself means me being home with Indy. I've spent every moment with Indy. So to not have him around has been really challenging. And it's really, honestly, today's one of the first days that I've been able to talk about it without crying. And I gotta be honest, I did not understand how the death of a pet could affect you so deeply until I had Indy. Now, we lost Luna, our other dog, 2 years ago, and I was obviously very sad. But this one just hits a little bit differently because Indy was my shadow. Indy was truly my companion in my day-to-day life. And that on top of my entire family being sick and just making it every day, we've been in survival mode. And you'll remember, we just finished moving. And I use finished lightly. My office / spare bedroom is still mostly boxes. We're going to get to it someday. I've got a whole vision for a bed nook library thing that I'm very excited about. But just like with anything, it takes energy and it takes time. And energy is something that I am low in. And so it's been a very challenging time to figure out where my energy goes. And honestly, when you're grieving, your energy is being siphoned off a lot more than you realize. I share all this because this is sad stuff. Yeah, trust me, it's sad stuff. And I wrote a little piece about Indy that I guess maybe I'll share on the middle. I posted it on my personal Facebook, but he was the best boy in the whole world. And I will miss him and have been missing him more than I could never understand. Thank you for letting me talk about him. The other thing that I really wanted to share today is that there are changes coming up with the middle. Nothing really it's big for me, but it's not going to change a whole lot for you all, except that you're going to get more stuff in different ways. So my partner in No Shame in the Home game, Sarah, and I have really loved working together so much that we were like, there's something special about this partnership that we're both getting that we want to expand out into the world. And we've come up with what's called the joyful support movement, where we want to create that feeling for other people, to create a space for other people to be able to do something like this, to be able to share like I share with Sharing the Middle, and to hear other people's stories, because that's how you know you're not alone. You've heard me several times throughout this saying, oh my gosh, to hear you talk about this makes me feel less alone. And so I really hope the Sharing the Middle can still do that. It's also going to be a place to just share and find joy. Last night, Sarah sent me a message. So Sarah and I like to say that we've been doing the joyful support movement amongst each other, but we're now figuring out a way to expand it out. So last night, Sarah shared some joy with me, and I was in a very grumpy mood. And she shared a joy about a snowplow. And I just was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And I was just sitting there smiling when I had just been very upset. I cannot wait for people to share and find joy together. And then the other part of it is really what's at the core of No Shame in the Home Game, which is finding solutions that work for you. And so just taking a step and moving forward. More is coming from that, but essentially what's going to happen is the joyful support movement is going to be an umbrella. It's going to be its whole network, and the middle and Sharing the Middle is going to be part of that. That's where a lot of my energy has been going and getting all this set up. We're going to have a membership, we're calling it the Joyful Support Village, where you can join in that support. We're actually making a course for free because we want this idea to be out in the world for free for people to be able to take and use in their own lives without even having to pay for it. And really what it is, Sarah and I have discovered that by setting parameters and expectations for each other, we have been able to create something special. So we are going to set up those parameters and expectations for other people who want to join us. And hopefully it makes everybody's life feel a little better, that they know they have a space to come and share their hardships, support someone else, because trust me, there's so much joy in supporting someone else, to find some joy and maybe even find some practical tips moving forward, whether that's in your house, like in No Shame in the Home Game, or we're working on finding partners that are aligned with us and our values to be able to say, hey, if you want this, this is a great person for that. I guess right now we're not monetizing that. I don't know if that'll be down the future. I don't know. We're being very transparent about money and all that stuff. I think we're even going to have a whole page about being like, this is how our money is being spent, and this is how we're making money, and this is the value we feel like you're providing. Because if you, again, have listened to this podcast before, I feel real weird about money, but I also know that I need to provide for my children and my husband, and mostly just pay for daycare, but we're working on it. Anyway, all that to be said, it's a space that I'm infinitely proud of that we're creating. It's a space that I want to be a part of. And it's a space that I can't wait for other people to join us. And I cannot wait until the day where I can introduce myself to someone and say, hi, I'm Lacey. I'm the co-founder of the Joyful Support Movement. I do that now because technically I am that. But I don't know. I look forward to that being how I introduce myself in the future, because holy crap, how cool is that? Hi, I'm Lacey. I'm the co-founder of the Joyful Support Movement. It's a pretty cool place. I really hope you enjoy it and join us. I started watching the Twin Flames documentary. I'm only like halfway through the first episode, but I do have this like immediate fear of being like, it's not a cult. We're not a cult. I don't want it to be a cult. I do not want to be anybody's guru. One, way too much responsibility and time and energy. I don't have enough to invest in other people in that way. You do you. That's the beauty of it, is that Sarah and I don't want to tell anyone what to do. It's about bringing together resources and ideas for people to say, hey, maybe this will work for you. It worked for me, but not like telling people what to do. I don't want to tell people what to do. You know yourself, what's right for you. We're going to offer solutions. We're not doctors. We're not therapists or anything like that. We're also not the second coming of Jesus. I want to be very clear about that. Hopefully, it's very clear that it's not a cult. That's been on my mind. Anywho, because it does feel a little bit like it. It's also why I get a little iffy about coaching and being a coach. I think there are really amazing coaches out there and that kind of stuff. I don't want that to sound, obviously we've had a lot of coaches on this podcast. I believe in it, but I don't like telling people what to do, and I don't like people telling me what to do. So that's why I always dance away from that. And they have a coaching program that's part of the Twin Flames universe stuff. I don't know. I'm not far enough into it to give you a recommendation either way. All I know is that I am not the second coming of Jesus. The joyful support movement is not a cult, and I don't want to tell you what to do. So if you leave today knowing that the joyful support movement is coming and it's not a cult, and that I love Indy more than anything, I feel like this episode is truly a true success. And frankly, I just hope it made you smile if you made it this far, because we really went off the tracks there. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me in the middle. We are going to return to regularly scheduled programming where every other week we'll have an episode that's an interview episode, and then I'll dance in with maybe some stuff from Joyful Support Movement or just what's going on in my world, because once I get started, this is a lot of fun. I appreciate your sticking with me while I am still figuring my life out. For the first, 8 months of this podcast, I was pretty consistent. I was on top of it. And that has really changed. And I know that's one of those things that people say, like, it gets in your way of success and you got to let your audience know. And I would like to think at this point you all know me enough to know that I'm doing my best. And my best doesn't always meet my own expectations. And that's okay. But that I am going to continue to show up. It's just going to look a little different. And I'll keep telling you about it along the way. Thank you so much for sharing the middle with me. And I hope that however you celebrate or just recognize this holiday, that it's something that you can enjoy in some way. Have an awesome day. Thanks for sharing the middle with me. As always, I hope you've been able to see a little bit of yourself in the story we shared today. Don't forget to follow, share, rate, review, and follow me on social media at Lacey Shares. You can always check out the Joyful Support Movement at joyfulsupportmovement.com and see all of the amazing goodness we have there, like No Shame in the Home Game, Pops of Joy, courses, resources, and of course, the Joyful Support Village. All right, now go out there and spread some joy.